What up and welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel, and here's my review of Paramount Plus new series, Happy Face. Let's rock this. Okay, so this show actually premieres at South by Southwest tonight. They're probably just screening the first couple of episodes there, but Paramount Plus has generously granted me the advanced screeners to the entire 8 episodes of this first season. So yeah, I've already watched the whole thing, in case you're wondering. Now, prior to this, I was not familiar with the true crime podcast on which this story is based. I just came in fresh, not knowing much about the actual serial killer Keith Jesperson either, but I was stoked about watching a potentially compelling crime thriller drama. And guess what? A compelling crime thriller drama is exactly what I received. Part psychological thriller, part dysfunctional family conflict, and part murder mystery. Happy Face is a harrowing exploration of what happens when your reputation is heavily tied to somebody else's dark past, by blood and by association, and you can't seem to run away from it. This show is not without its flaws, but overall I find it to be suspenseful and cathartic, and at times it can also be emotionally draining, but it has a very deeply affecting payoff, and it serves a type of justice that's more complicated than you can ever expect. Happy Face is inspired by the true life story of Melissa G. Moore, the critically acclaimed Happy Face podcast from iHeartPodcasts and more, and the autobiography Shattered Silence, written by Moore with Bridget Cook. At 15, Moore discovered that her beloved father was the prolific serial killer known as Happy Face. As an adult, she changed her name and guarded her secret while her father served life in prison. Happy Face for Paramount Plus jumps off from Moore's true life story. Happy Face is an incarcerated serial killer who also is Melissa Reed's once beloved father. After decades of no contact, Keith finds a way to force himself back into his daughter's life. In a race against the clock, Melissa must find out if an innocent man is going to be put to death for a crime her father committed. Throughout, she discovers the impact her father had on his victims' families and must face a reckoning of her own identity. Starring Dennis Quaid and Annalee Ashford. I know that whenever we come across yet another new show about serial killers like this, we would usually immediately go to other already existing popular adaptations out there to try to find some similarities. Maybe the style is influenced by such and such and such. And while yes, there are some dark, gruesome, unsettling moments in Happy Face, but there are also a lot of poignant human connections between Melissa and her psycho dad, between Melissa and her estranged brother, between Melissa and the producer whom she goes on an obligated road trip with. So each of those dynamics is thoughtfully written and superbly performed, with an overarching arc of inquiring where exactly the manipulation ends and the truth begins. Now, because Melissa is a makeup artist who has to wear a sort of a detective hat, if you will, her family gets neglected. And that is where my minor criticism of this show kind of lies. You see, the teen angst subplot involving Melissa's daughter is tedious at best and pointless at worst. I understand what the writers were aiming for by showing that Keith Jesperson can get his claws into anything and anybody anywhere, but it's at the cost of turning that teenage daughter into a helpless, tragic pariah when she doesn't have to be. All 8 episodes are very lengthy, but I was riveted the whole time. Melissa wrestling with her stages of grief, anger, denial, acceptance, yada yada yada. Am I like my dad, or am I my own person? Now that to me is a lot more powerful than the investigation, which in and of itself is also absorbing and full of twists and turns and gut-wrenching surprises. Acting-wise, listen. This is not the Dennis Quaid you've seen him before. On this show, he is creepy and twisted and chilling, and still you can't look away. It's a transformative performance and quite possibly his best work yet. and Annalee Ashford as Melissa Moore is both fragile and committed. The interactions among these two characters, Keith and Melissa, whether they be on the phone or in person, feel incredibly authentic, layered with tension and fears and resentment that resonate deeply. So yeah, overall I give Happy Face the rating of 4 out of 5. Heads up, this is not a show that's easy to digest. It's a heavy, disturbing thriller drama, but one that is also captivating and profound.